Well, one indication of the breadth of the migration crisis came tonight. Sweden has announced that it is imposing emergency border controls. Joining us now from Berlin is Vuk Jeremić, the former President of the United Nations General Assembly and Serbia's former Foreign Affairs Minister. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. This is a very major problem indeed of migration in Europe, as it is in some other parts of the world. Do you feel that now, after this very costly year or so of migration with a lot of lives lost, that politicians are finally getting a handle on the problem?
Well, I'm afraid that we're still not there when it comes to European leaders. And what Guy was saying yesterday, a minute ago, Mr. Verhofstadt, it's very important to get orderly measures to deal with the crisis that we have at hand and to deal with the number of people that are already on the way towards our shores or in the continent of Europe already. But this is not going to go away until the root causes of this crisis is seriously tackled. And for as long as we have the situation in Syria, first and foremost, but also in other parts of the region that continues to cause the flooding of people towards Europe, this is not going to go away. So for as long as there is no European political and diplomatic action aimed at resolving the source, we're going to be continuing to struggle with this situation.
Of course, what the European leaders and particularly David Cameron are saying is that the best thing in the circumstances is to try and stop people from travelling too far, which is why Britain has concentrated its aid on the surrounding areas to Syria and Iraq rather than trying to deal with the flow of refugees into Europe. Do you think that's a constructive approach?
Well, perhaps this is a constructive approach short term, but fundamentally speaking, if the situation in Syria continues to deteriorate, we're not going to be able to stop all these people from coming our way. So I don't think that without a very concerted, aimed diplomatic action towards the resolving of the conflict in Syria, before this is tackled, and I don't see this leadership coming right now. This leadership is not coming from anywhere. It has to come from Europe, in my opinion. Before we see this coming, we're just going to be continuing to treat a very serious pneumonia with a dose of aspirin. We can decide whether we're going to have this dose of aspirin or that dose of aspirin, but we're still talking aspirin. And this is pneumonia. It can be treated with aspirin.
Just seeing pictures there of the people gathering at the summit in Malta. Of course, that's focusing very much on Africa. I appreciate what you're saying about having to deal with the root cause of the disturbance and the war in Syria, but at the same time, we do now have hundreds of thousands of people in Europe who have made the journey. What do you think that Europe should be doing about them?
Well, first and foremost, those people who have already made their way towards Europe, the basic standards of human compassion and decency instruct us as Europeans to offer them shelter and not to turn them away. So those people who are already with us, they need to be taken care of in a way that is in line with our European values and standards. But in order to prevent hundreds of thousands, if not millions of more people, you need to address the issue. You need to address Syria. You need to convene the international actors that matter in this equation. And these are Americans, and these are Russians, obviously. These are some key Middle Eastern countries, Turkey, Iran, and others. And you need to convene them at the request of Europe, at the request of European leaders, to start addressing this issue, because this issue is not going to go away. No matter how efficiently we deal with registration, no matter how efficiently we deal with borders, that is all very important, I agree, just as important as working closely with countries like Jordan and Lebanon and Turkey to deal with the millions of people who are already there. But let us not kid ourselves. people are going to continue coming our way for as long as the conditions that made them try and leave in the first place are there. And these conditions are there. And currently, we're not doing anything in order to change those conditions.
Mr. Jeremic, thank you very much indeed for joining us.